The Indiana Fever is America's team. The haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. It's going to be hilarious watching the daily melt.
History has been rewritten yet again, and if you guessed Caitlin Clark is the reason, you're absolutely right. This time, she and the Indiana Fever have shattered yet another record, one that might sting Angel Reese just a little more.
I'm trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself that I'm still doing great.
This isn't about a fluke, a hot streak, or media hype. The Indiana Fever has officially become America's sweetheart team. Not just a rising contender, not merely improving, not some plucky underdog, but America's team. And this isn't ESPN fluff. These are cold, hard numbers and sold-out arenas, echoing a truth the league can no longer ignore.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
Caitlin Clark didn't come to blend in, she came to shake things up. While she stacks record after record, her critics scramble to keep up, throwing a desperate full-court defense against reality. But here's the catch: denial doesn't cancel out demand. The more they sulk, the brighter Clark and the Fever shine.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years, with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Let's talk numbers: minus 41 out of 44 games airing on national TV. That's not a scheduling quirk. It's a deliberate broadcast coronation. The networks aren't making guesses. They're cashing in on a movement. And that movement, it's not temporary. This isn't a viral moment. It's a full-blown revolution, and the Fever are leading it. Caitlin Clark didn't just lift a team, she turned Indiana into the epicenter of women's basketball. They're the hottest ticket in town, and the media can't get enough headlines. Cameras coverage. It all points back to one person.
News that 41 out of the 44 Indiana Fever games will be nationally televised. I do not think a lot of people are understanding just how big that is. That is something that the WNBA players, WNBA media, WNBA fans have been begging for so many years.
Let's rewind the clock. Just a few seasons ago, the Indiana Fever were practically invisible, playing in front of half-empty crowds, ignored by networks, and overlooked by the league's own marketing. Now, they're the main event. So what changed? One name: Clark. Her presence transformed the Fever from filler to front page, from bottom feeders to sold-out stars. Whether she's playing in Indiana or on the road, fans are packing the stands.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. They're coming to watch the other girl, right?
Right? Bang!
Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that?
Bang!
Angel Reese attempted a three this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
You want some butter with that bread? Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
The Clark effect is so massive that 6 opposing teams have had to upgrade their arenas just to host her. Think about that. Teams like Chicago, Dallas, and Connecticut are abandoning their usual courts for NBA venues because the crowds Clark draws are simply too big to fit in their standard spots. And if you think that doesn't bother a certain Angel Reese, think again. She's probably wondering why the United Center isn't calling her name, unless Caitlin's on the floor too. But it's not just the seats, it's the screens. The Fever are leading the league in national TV appearances by a mile. Not just more than usual, more than the defending champs. Clark isn't just driving storylines, she's driving broadcast lineups. This isn't gifted coverage, it's earned. Earned with numbers, earned with performance, earned with charisma and clout.
Broadcast this season, ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out, all eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
41 of our 44 games are on national television, the most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history. I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese.
And let's be real, TV execs don't schedule based on fairness. They schedule based on dollars. And Caitlin Clark doesn't just boost ratings, she obliterates them. She's a one-woman economic surge, a walking WNBA stimulus plan. No wonder every network is clawing for her matchups like it's Black Friday, and they're out of flat screens.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this. And instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide.
Just look at last year. Some random regular season Fever games pulled in more viewers than the WNBA finals. Let that sink in. That kind of pull doesn't just elevate the Fever. It lifts the entire league.
These networks are not thinking about hurting feelings. These networks are thinking about how much money can we bring.
If there's actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year, imagine being that delusional. Bang! People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful. Bang! 93% of her games on national TV. She's like that! Bang!
And that includes teams like the Chicago Sky, the Aces, and the Liberty. Because let's be honest, Angel Reese and company aren't pulling those numbers on their own. But when the Fever roll in, suddenly they're on national TV. Suddenly the arena is packed. Suddenly the sponsors are paying attention. So while she's busy scrolling through Twitter and liking shady posts, she might want to remember who made that spotlight bright enough for her to stand in.
Everyone trying to diminish the wave that was happening, the Clarkonomics that were happening, the Caitlin Clark effect that was happening, and realizing it is not only going to be good for this Indiana Fever team, it's going to be great for everyone. It's going to be great for every single player in the WNBA and also every single team in the WNBA.
And that includes teams like the Chicago Sky, the Aces, and the Liberty. Because let's be honest, Angel Reese and company aren't pulling those numbers on their own. But when the Fever roll in, suddenly they're on national TV. Suddenly the arena is packed. Suddenly the sponsors are paying attention. So while she's busy scrolling through Twitter and liking shady posts, she might want to remember who made that spotlight bright enough for her to stand in.
Liberty and Aces, they're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success.
There have been 6 teams that have changed venues when the Indiana Fever come to play. All of these arenas are selling out.
Let's talk numbers, because the numbers never lie. Ticket sales. Clark turned them into a cheat code. The Indiana Fever went from the WNBA's forgotten stepchild, just hanging around, rarely chosen for anything meaningful, to the hottest ticket in all of women's sports. Last season alone, the Fever brought in over 340,000 fans at home, a 39% surge from the ghost town that was 2023. This was a team that struggled to pull 88,000 just a year prior. Clark enters the chat, and suddenly every night feels like a playoff game. And the wildest part? This explosion isn't just in Indiana. It's nationwide.
Sigh, I miss the unrivaled already. They're mad. Caitlin Clark didn't play in that league. They want her out. They want you fans out of the league.
Angel Wilson's talking about sitting out for more money. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, hey, we're putting every game on TV for Caitlin Clark. Everybody wants to watch her.
This is the year that they want to do whatever they possibly can to show that they deserve more and also be profitable.
One of the worst WNBA fans and one of CC's biggest haters is already complaining. They don't like the game of basketball at all. They just want to support Reese. I've said the majority of her fans are not hoops.
Teams around the league are scrambling like someone just pulled the fire alarm. They're ditching their tiny home gyms and upgrading to NBA arenas just to keep up with the Clark crowds. The Chicago Sky is booking the United Center. The Dallas Wings are calling in favors at the Mavs Arena. Atlanta's shifting into State Farm Arena. And Connecticut, they said forget Mohegan Sun and locked in TD Garden like they were prepping for a Celtics game. These aren't just upgrades, they're evacuations. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't just bring games. She brings chaos. Sellout level, revenue exploding chaos.
More people are getting on board. More people are watching women's basketball. More people are watching women's college basketball. Do not slow the momentum because of ego.
Caitlin Clark draws massive viewership and other teams don't. Caitlin Clark averaged about 1.2 million viewers per game and the rest of the league about 400 to 500,000.
Give me Angel Reese, give me Caitlin Clark, because this has been box office, y'all. The young guns, the young stars have come to play. Angel at Unrivaled, training with Lisa, Leslie, and Caitlin. We all know that girl. She lives, breathes, eats, sleeps in the gym. So I am so excited to see that matchup, those two, because anytime they go up against each other, honestly, the whole world shuts down. Yep. Everything shuts down.
6 WNBA networks set ratings records this season, all Caitlin Clark. 23 WNBA games drew more than 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20. WNBA Draft and All-Star Game demolished their viewership records with Caitlin Clark. The Diana Taurasi Draft drew 600,000. It was the most watched draft ever. Caitlin Clark's draft drew nearly 2.5 million. 374% increase of viewership. Fever quadrupled ticket sales after drafting Clark. Washington and Indiana set the single game attendance record of 20,711 on September 19 Capital One Arena. The WNBA's average attendance last year was 9,807 fans, up 48%. And keep in mind, that was really one person that added those 3,000 fans on average.
The Atlanta Dream owner said that they were moving venues only because of a scheduling conflict. It wasn't because the Indiana Fever were coming in town. Like, they made up some weird excuse. Boycott watching the Indiana Fever games. You are only doing that if you don't care about anyone else.
Killing me is it's the fans that are demanding that these players make more money, but they don't want to support the very player that's causing that money to be made. They can't stand her. We know why. We watched the poor young lady get demolished last